2.5 years. 2.5 years ago was a really weird time for the Pokemon card hobby. I don't know if you were involved in Pokemon at the time, or if maybe you were on like an extended leave and you came back later on, or whatever the case may be. But 2.5 years ago, Pokemon card collecting was very difficult. It was difficult to find cards in stores. Hidden Fates just went through like its 10 millionth reprint. We had additional reprints of Champion's Path. Evolving Skies hadn't even been announced yet. But Pokemon cards were selling like crazy. We had Logan Paul doing live streams. We had Logic spending $250,000 on a first edition Charizard. It was just really, really strange times. It was difficult for people to get involved in the hobby, difficult for kids to find product. It was scalping left and right. It was not great. And 2.5 years ago, there was no product in stores. It was very difficult to walk into a Target, to walk into a Walmart, and find booster packs sitting on the shelves, because what a lot of streamers did is they went and bought out a lot of these packs, and then they would charge $10, $12 a piece for them to open it up on their live stream, so that way you would have some access to Pokemon card openings, Pokemon card collecting. But supply was just way down because there were distribution issues, because of everything that was going on with the pandemic. And because of that, because there were so many issues with buying sealed product, single prices, specifically on a group of Pokemon cards called the Waifus, or full art supporter cards, they skyrocketed. They got bought out all over TCG Player. They got bought out all over eBay, all over different websites. It was just very, very strange. And then there was a lot of videos that were recorded about how this meteoric rise was occurring with these full art supporters. And a lot of people were like, hold the phone for a second. This is ridiculous. This is not actually legitimate. This is manipulation. This is buyouts. These are not going to sit at this price. We talked about this on this channel several times about how these cards were getting bought out and then priced 4 or 5 times higher than what they really should be at. And then because of that, over the next several months, eventually a lot of these waifus came way back down in price. They started getting back to somewhat normal ranges. However, these full art supporter cards still had a lot of interest. And now, I don't know a ton about Japanese Pokemon cards. I don't collect a ton of Japanese Pokemon cards. I like to open up some new sets here and there, just maybe a booster box or two, just so that way I can get a feel for the new set, just to look at the artwork and things like that, because I do appreciate that, but I don't get into a whole lot of Japanese card collecting. That's why I'm giving away so many boxes of Pokemon 151. By the way, if you want to win one, go back, watch the video that I just posted a couple days ago on Friday, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, make sure you're entered. Come back every Friday. We're calling it Pokemon 150 Fun Day. We're giving out a Pokemon booster box of Pokemon 151 every Friday until the set releases. But over in Japan right now, not only is sealed product crazy, but full art supporter cards, those waifu cards that we were just talking about, those are crazy as well. And kind of transitioning a little bit back into the English set. So we're going to look at 15 different Pokemon card full art supporters, waifus, that are really starting to blow up over the last 3 months. So I'm going to stop rambling, because I know I like to preface the videos, but I know it gets a little bit long, so I don't blame you if you fast forward a little bit. But we're going to look at what's going on with some of these waifus. Some of them are definitely getting bought out, and it's something to pay attention to. But the reason I like to preface these stories with a little bit of information is that you make the best decision when it comes to spending your collecting dollars, because I know a lot of people do like to collect these Pokemon cards and really like to collect all Pokemon cards. So if you're looking for any of these, maybe now is the time not to buy these. Maybe you're like, oh, back off on some of these. This Irida is really only like a $20 card. I shouldn't be spending $30, $40 on it. I'm just going to watch it go up, watch people lose their minds, and I'm going to wait until it comes back down to earth a little bit, because it should not be this expensive, especially with the amount of Brilliant Stars packs that are continuing to be cracked left and right. It's all over the place. Brilliant Stars definitely coming down in price, so is Irida really supposed to be that expensive? Brilliant Stars? Astro Ratings? One of the two. Maybe it is Astro Ratings. But regardless, let's look at Irida to kind of start things off. This, over the last 3 months, has grown over 30%. Just in 3 months, 30%. We're looking at 3 months of data just to show you what things look like. So Irida is the number, I think it's from Astro Radiance, but you can see at the beginning of April, this was sitting right around $21.42. It did start rising, maybe organically, and that's something that I do want to know in the comment section below. If you think that these are just being kind of manipulated a little bit, being bought out a little bit, more attention being given to them, or if this is actual natural organic growth, if these should be priced at the point that they're priced at, if they should continue to rise. You can see in May it go up a little bit, across that 24, nearing that $25 mark, then back down to that 3-month low of $21.42, and then over the last month, it has gained basically 30%, sitting at $29.90 currently. So that's a 3-month high and continuing to rise. So is that organic, or is that just something that where it's kind of being bought out? Rosa is the next one that we're going to look at. Cosmic Eclipse. This is from Cosmic Eclipse. If you didn't know, check your local Target stores. It looks like is it Orbital VMAX? I think it's Orbital VMAX, but the collection boxes that they stock at Target right now, if you can find any of them, does look like it has a Cosmic Eclipse pack in it. This was all over Twitter. This might be old news already because it's been a few days now, but Evolving Skies, Cosmic Eclipse. I can't remember if it's Orbital VMAX, but definitely check your local Targets. Maybe you can find a Cosmic Eclipse pack that'll have this Full Art Rosa in it, which is continuing to just climb and climb and climb. You can see about 30% worth of growth over the past 3 months. And beginning of April, it was already really expensive, sitting at $158.73, and not really any valleys when it comes to this Rosa. It's just continuing to climb left and right. And Cosmic Eclipse is a set that just keeps getting opened. And I know there's a lot going on with Sun and Moon tag team sets, Cosmic Eclipse, Unbroken Bonds, Ultra Prism, and Unified Minds, because of the alternate arts that are in there, because of the full arts that are in there. But Rosa, one of those cards that just keeps going up and up, and you wonder where the ceiling is on this card. It's sitting at 206.09 currently. That's a 3-month high for this card, just continuing to climb. Lily from Sun and Moon base. This is the less popular Lily. However, you wouldn't know it by looking at this TCG player chart right here over the last 3 months. The big Lily is the one from Ultra Prism. I think that one might be in here too, because that one continues to rise. But this Lily from Sun and Moon base was really a $25 card about 6 months ago, and then kind of ballooned a little bit to about $48, but that's a 3-month low right now. You can see middle of April, it's sitting at $48.65, which was a 3-month low, and then very steep gains over the next couple months, where you're looking at almost 200% growth between May and June, which is absolutely insane. Sitting at 119.06 currently, so that's a 3-month high for this Lily from Sun and Moon base. Just crazy how much this card continues to climb. If we look at Skyla, this is the one from Shining Fates. So Shining Fates, a product that is just basically everywhere. You can still go to Walmart's and find Shining Fates sitting on the shelves. If you remember when Shining Fates came out, kind of around the time that we're talking about, a couple months after 2.5 years ago, Shining Fates being scalped like crazy, sold for 2-3 times MSRP, and a lot of people freaked out because the first initial wave, the first print run, was being bought out all over the place because there was so much demand when it came to Pokemon. And then Pokemon released a statement in February and saying, hey guys, back off a little bit, we're going to print more, we're going to print this as much as we need to make sure that it hits demand. And then over the next several months, Shining Fates came out with multiple massive reprints and restocks, which really crashed the Shining Fates market. The singles for those full art Shiny VMAXs still haven't recovered, and they're sitting down below $2 in many cases. But Skyla, a card that's probably just printed to the moon, literally all over the place, tons of copies out there, has just absolutely ballooned over the last month. You can see in the middle of May, it hit a 3-month low of $8.02. It's the lowest that this card got to. I think it has been closer to that $7 mark, maybe 6-7 months ago, but hit that $8.02 mark in the middle of May. And then over the next month and a half, you're looking at almost 300% growth. Definitely 200%, 250% growth. Trying to do the math in my head, but middle of May till now, $21.70 is where this card is currently sitting. So that's a 3-month high. But look at that graph just in the last month and a half. Absolutely crazy how much that card has skyrocketed. This is Acerola from Burning Shadows. Burning Shadows not too expensive a set, one of the cheaper ones from the Sun and Moon block. You can still find packs for around $10 a piece, but relatively flat for the first half of April there. You can see it sitting at $52.78 for a 3-month low. That's not too expensive, too terribly expensive, but definitely one of the more highly priced full art supporter cards, especially if you're comparing it to current Sword and Shield era days, even Scarlet and Violet days. But slow growth up until beginning of June, and then really started shooting up a little bit. Now you're looking at about 25-30% growth over the last month, sitting at $77.50. So that's a 3-month high for that Acerola. Marnie, a card that kind of rotated out, so we expected it to maybe go down a little bit because it wasn't going to be played in competitive decks. However, doing extremely well in the middle of April. It was at a 3-month low of $47.94, and then had a really big month where it had a huge gain between beginning of May and beginning of June, where it jumped up about $20 in price up to that $65 mark. So you saw about 30% growth right there in that month stretch, and then gained another 10-20% over the last month and a half here, sitting at $74.56. That's a 3-month high for that Marnie. Marnie's Pride kind of doing the same thing. This one is from Brilliant Stars. That one I remember, relatively consistent from the beginning of April all the way to the beginning of June. And then over the last month, it has over doubled in price. So you can see slow growth, not huge growth by any means, but in June, sitting right around that 24, 25, or no, middle of June, sitting right around that $14, $15 mark. And then it ballooned right after that up to $25.43 at the end of June. So that was a 3-month high. It's backed off a little bit down to $23.69, but still much higher than its 3-month low, which is basically where it was at the end of April at $11.37. If we look at Phoebe, this one is just, I mean, what can you say? I mean, can you talk about buyouts? Can you talk about manipulation in any other aspect whatsoever other than looking at this graph for Phoebe? This is just like, boom, smack it in the face. It's so obvious. If you look at the last 3 months of Phoebe, absolutely crazy what is going on. 2 months of just straight consistency from the beginning of June until the beginning, or from the beginning of April to the beginning of June. And some people might say, well, it should have been priced higher. And maybe you're right. Maybe it should have been priced higher. But it was consistently at the same point of about $13, $14 for 2 months. And then middle of June, so you're talking about 2.5, 3 weeks, it almost doubled in price, up to $22.84. So that's a 3-month high, but that was all done over the last 2.5 weeks. Very, very, very crazy. Erika's Hospitality. This one is from Team Up. Team Up obviously doing crazy things. Booster packs blowing up. Booster boxes blowing up. Obviously, like we talked about before with the alternate arts and the full arts in Team Up. Really cool set. Definitely underprinted compared to the other tag team sets. But beginning of April, this was sitting at $84.34, which was already pretty expensive. I remember having 1 or 2 of these at the Milwaukee Regionals and looking at the prices of them and being like, holy cow, this is a $100 card already. And that was beginning of May, and it's just continued to go up since then. So over $100, now sitting at $130.67. So that's a 1-year high, for a 3-month high for the Erika's Hospitality, probably an all-time high. The Lily from Ultra Prism. Oh man, this is the most expensive full art supporter, and it just continues to find new heights, which is very surprising. Closing in on that Moonbrand territory. Still got a couple $100s to go, but definitely one of the more expensive modern day Pokemon cards. Ultra Prism was a set that was a little bit underprinted. I remember opening up a bunch of Ultra Prism when it first originally came out. We had a 1,000-pack opening stream. It was a very big, very cool set because there was a lot of cards in the set that were expected to be competitive, especially with the introduction of Cynthia. However, somewhat short printed. After the set came out, like before it even released, distribution was already sold out. They could barely give you any additional boxes. And then a couple of years later, when we got to the middle of the pandemic, Pokemon was like, hold on, we've got some more boxes. Here you go. We're going to redistribute some of these additional cases. Wasn't a huge reprint or restock, but it was a little bit that impacted the market. Lily, reprint proof, apparently, because it did not go down. It just continued to rise. Fast forward to today, and you can see in the middle of April, it's sitting at a 3-month low of $337.39, but still gaining about 30% over the past 2 months here. In the beginning of May, it just started climbing and climbing and climbing. You can see the last couple weeks of June shooting from about $390 up to $423. $423.46 is where it's currently sitting, a 3-month high for that one. Caitlyn, kind of going along the same path here. A modern day full art supporter, really started seeing a lot of growth, especially at the back half of June. You can see in the beginning of April, it's sitting at $21.22. Some slow growth all the way up until the beginning of June, and then just really shot up about $8 from $24 up to that $33.18. So sitting at a 3-month high currently for Caitlyn. Misty's Favor, this one is from Unified Minds. Real steep growth over the past 3 months. You can see at the beginning of April, it's sitting at $164.32, but gained about 15-20% over the past 3 months. Most of that damage being done in April and May, and then kind of leveled off now over the past couple weeks. It hit $183.65. In the middle of June, it's backed off a little bit to $180, $183, but still trending in the upward direction. Sonia, this card from Rebel Clash, has done extremely well, over doubling in price over the past 3 months. You can see it going down, actually on a downward trend up until the middle of April, hitting a 3-month low of $23.52, went up a little bit, leveled off until the beginning of June, and then the beginning of June going from $30 up to $49.68, where it's currently sitting. So basically getting close to 80-75% growth over the past month. It did hit $54.24 a couple weeks ago as a 3-month high. It's backed off a little bit down to $49.68, but still trending in the upward direction. Same thing with Mistys Determination. There's got to be a lot of these out there because Evolutions was such a popular set to open, and there were so many packs that Pokemon created, kind of coming off of its 20th anniversary. Evolutions kind of a throwback to the original 151, like what we're going to be seeing with the Scarlet and Violet 151. Evolutions was printed like absolute madness, like in every collection box and every collection tin. And Misty's Determination was very cheap and has been very cheap all the way up until now, where it's starting to climb up a little bit in price. You can see right around that $10 mark. $10.57 was its 3-month low at the end of April, stayed level at that point until the beginning of June, and then really shot up where it's almost doubled in price, almost 100% growth, sitting at $20.53 currently. Lucia, I think this is the last one that we're looking at. This one's from Celestial Storm. 183.66 was its low point, which it hit the beginning of April. One of the other cards that just kind of ballooned in price and just kept going. You can see in the middle of May across that 240 mark, leveled off a little bit and then started going up again in the beginning of June. Now it's sitting at 271.94, which is a 3-month high for that Lucia. There's other ones as well that you can kind of look up on your own. Just go to tcgplayer.com, type full art in the search bar, search through Pokemon by best selling, and you'll see all the popular full art cards that are selling. A lot of them are supporters, which really makes you think and wonder, okay, well, are these going through a buyout position right now? Maybe being manipulated a little bit, and then you got to pump the brakes a little bit, because you don't want to overspend and then look 6 months, 12 months down the line and see Lucia selling for $200 as opposed to maybe what you expected at $300 or what you pay for it, and then that's just no good for anybody. You don't want to overspend in the hobby, because that's going to make you crabby, and then you're not going to want to be in the hobby. So make the smartest decisions that you possibly can. Obviously, some of these getting to a point where it's probably pricing some people out, so make sure you do your homework and look at the market, so that way you can make the best decisions when it comes to spending your collection dollars. I hope you enjoy the content. If you do, hit that subscribe button down below, share the video with your friends, hit that like button, leave a comment. You guys are amazing. You know what to do. Thank you so much for taking the time. I'll be back in a couple days with some more craziness going on in the Pokemon market. Until then, guys, peace.